Hey, welcome to math today. Here's our goal that I want you to write down in your notes. Today's big idea is to learn to determine whether a number is a solution of an equation. Put this, today's date, and page number down in your notebook. When you're ready, we'll continue on. So here is your warm-up for today. All I want you to do is solve these six. Make sure you're showing your work in your notebook so you can really see the process through. So evaluate each expression where x equals 8. All you got to do is put 8 in for each. Come back when you're done. We'll see how you did. So this is how you should have set up each of your problems. And then from here, all you got to do is solve. So for number 1, you have 3 times 8, which is 24, plus 5 more gives you 29. For number 2, 8 plus 8 is 16. For number 3, 2 times 8 is 16, minus 7, that gives you 9. For number 4, you have 8 times 8, which gives you 64. And then you divide that by 4, you'll get 16. And for number 5, 7 times 8 gives you 56. Minus 1 gives you 55. And then finally, for number 6, you have 8 minus 3, and that gives you an answer of 5. So all you're doing is you're putting 8 in for x, and then solving all those problems so you get the final answer. Now there are 6 of them. If you got 4 correct, 5 correct, or 6 correct, I want you to give yourself a pat on the back. And I'll be looking to see if you're doing it. Okay, so let's get into some of our notes for this lesson. All right, there are a couple things we're going to bring up here. The first one is what an equation actually is and what solution is. So let's go through the first one first. Obviously, first one first. An equation is a mathematical statement that two expressions are equal. You can think of a correct equation as a balanced scale. So here we can see one scale is balanced, that's this one, and one scale is not. That's the one with the check mark. Now how is that possible? Well, with the balanced scale, you have a value of 5 on one side. And what does 3 plus 2 give you? That equals 5. So when you look at it, both sides have the same amount of value. So we say this is equal, or we give it a solution. Okay? Look at the left side. Why is this not equal? Equal sign with a cross through it. Well, we can see one side has a value of 6. And what is 4 times 2? Well, that equals 8. Is that the same answer on both sides? Obviously not. So you have not a solution, or no solution. Solution balances both sides, has the same value. Not a solution, not balance. So equations may contain variables, and if a value for a variable makes an equation true, the value is a solution of the equation, or it means answer to equation. That's all solution really means. It means finding the answer. So what I want you to do is I want you to get those two definitions down and put this drawing in here, the two drawings, so you have some good visual examples of what a solution looks like and what a solution does not look like. Those balances really help us to understand this a little better. Pause the video, come back when you're ready. Let's take a look at two more examples using the balanced scale and not balanced, or solution on left, not solution on right. So if you were given a problem like s plus 15, and you probably should put this in your notes, but I'll leave that up to you. Okay, you have a problem like s plus 15 equals 27. You have to find out, what does s actually equal? What is it that goes here that will make this a solution? Well, if we just pick two numbers and we randomly tried them out, all you got to do is put what s equals in for each one and see if you get the right value. So if we do the one on the left here, we put in 12 for s and show the work down here. 12 plus 15, what does that equal? That equals 27. So we can see that the balance scale is equal, it's balanced, because one side is 27, the other side is 27. That makes that equation equal, or a solution. If we put 10 in for s, and we plug and chug that out, we see that 10 plus 15 actually equals 25, And what we wanted was 27. So this does not equal 27, which means it's not a solution. Now, the last thing that you probably can look at is, how could I have figured out 12 was going to work for S right away? Well, what if I did this? I noticed that we have a plus symbol on this side. What if I decided, let's try doing the opposite of it to the other side? How can I, if I subtract 15 on one side, this is gone now, right? So we're just left with S equals. Well, we want to know what S equals, and over here, let's do it to both sides. Let's subtract 15 on both sides. So what's left when you subtract 27 and 15? Well, 7 minus 5 is 2. 2 minus 1 is 1. You get 12. And we can check that work by putting 12 back in for S and seeing if it works. Because it works, 12 makes it a solution. Let's go through some problems together here. So this is really what we're going to be doing and trying to understand today. So I do want you to copy down all this work that I'm going to be doing on the board. And you can pause at any time and go back. So we have to determine whether the given value of the variable is a solution or not. Pretty simple. We're given a problem like b minus 447, and we're trying to see if 1,203 will make it an equal balance. How do we find that out? We're going to be putting 1,650 in for b, and we're going to see if that works. So here's what we did over here. We're going to, for now, just cross this out so it doesn't confuse us. And I use a pen so I can erase it and re-erase it. So first thing you should write down is the problem again, b minus 447. Then what we're going to do is we're going to figure out what are we substituting b with. Well, it said right here in the problem, 1,650. So put that on the next line. This is the second line you're going to write. And now you do 1,650 minus 447. If I do that over here, 650, and I subtract 447. Math just works better for me when I stack it this way. I see I'm going to have to borrow this to make that a 4 to get that a 10. 10 minus 7, 3. 4 minus 4 is 0. 6 minus 4 is 2. And you bring the 1 down. Okay? So when I subtract those, the third line, I'm going to write down what I got. Now here's where we bring the equal sign back in. Let's put down what the problem originally had from here and here. And what do you notice about the results we got when we put 1,650 in for b and what we had on the other side of the equal sign? Same answer. So since it balances, is this a solution? The answer is yes. This work does come out to be a solution. So because the answer on both sides is the same amount, you know it works. Make sure you have this down before you move on. So let's look at this problem now. We're going to be looking at 27x equals 1485, where x equals 54. Again, this is what we're solving for, and we're trying to see, is this going to balance or not? So remember, when you see an x or any variable right next to a number, that means multiply. So our first step, again, is to write down the problem. 27x equals 1485. Write this down with me. The second step, now we plug and chug. We're going to plug 54 in for 27. And if we do 54 times 27, you can't see it, but I'm using a calculator here just to kind of speed up the process. The final answer for this is 1,458. Now when you look at those two numbers, don't let your eyes play tricks on you. You can clearly see that they do not equal the same amount. So is this a solution? Do we have a balanced scale? And the answer is no. This is not a solution because we don't have the same answer on both sides. That clearly shows us it's not a solution. So go ahead and write this down and then come back when you finish. So let's take a look at this as if we had a word problem. So it says Paolo says that his yard is 19 yards long. Jamie says that Paolo's yard is 664 inches long. So we have to determine if these two measurements are equal. First thing we have to do is bring down those yards to the inches level so we can look at these measurements on the same level. So first thing you have to say to yourself is, okay, I don't know how many feet I know how many feet are in a yard, but I don't know how many inches. So I know there's 3 feet to a yard, and I know there's 12 inches for every yard, so 12 times 3 is going to give me 36. So I'm going to have to multiply. So the first thing I'm going to do is write down this part, and of course you should be doing that too. And the second thing I'm then going to do is just do 36 times 19. Well, when I multiply 19 yards by 36 inches, I get 684. So we have to look at it and go, okay, Jamie said 664 inches. Paula said 19 yards, which is 684 inches. Does this balance? And the answer is no. It doesn't balance, so they're not equal. So there's the answer you should write down too. They're not equal. And to find out who is actually correct, you'd have to probably go measure the yard and see which it actually comes out to, 664 inches or 684, to truly know who's correct. The biggest thing is we can tell that their measurements aren't equal. Here's another one. Anna says that the table is 7 feet long, and John says that the table is 84 inches long. Determine if these two measurements are equal. Go ahead and solve it on your own. Come back when you've given it a chance. See if you got it right. So this is what you should have had. Now, first thing you gotta do is change those feet to inches. Again, break it down to the smallest value. And you know there's 12 inches in every foot, so multiply 7 by 12, and you get 84. Well, John said 84 inches, so as we can see, 84 and 84 show us that, yes, these two measurements are equal because they have the same value. So if you got that right, I want you to stand up and give yourself 2 pats on the head, and then you can sit back down. So we're almost done here. It's time for you to do your box of thought in your notebook. So here's the first question. Tell which of the following is a solution of y divided by 2 equals 9. Is it y equals 14, y equals 16, or y equals 18? Try them all, see which one works, and tell me how you know it works. And then finally, give me an example of an equation which a solution would be 15. So what two numbers would you add, subtract, multiply, divide to equal 15? Or you can create a longer problem if you want to challenge yourself to that. When you're done, box it off, label it, and you're ready to move on to the quiz. So pause this until you're ready for the quiz. And here's your quiz. 5 questions. It helps to show your work if you don't get it right when you come over to me, because I can help you try to see where your mistake is. Once you have all 5 down, come to me at the table. I will give you your homework if you get them all correct, or I will send you back to fix these if you don't have them correct. And that's it for today. We'll see you in the next lesson.